This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network. Mitch Moss along with Pauly Howard. We are live in downtown Vegas. Circa Resort and Casino is the spot. Busy 3-hour program lined up today. Great guests on the program. Adam Rittenberg to talk college football coming up in an hour. ESPN senior writer. Scott Seinberg on the show. NFL playoffs with him. VSiN host, does a great job with his trench report. Lifelong Hoosier Wes Reynolds on location in Atlanta for the game tomorrow night on the show, and a longtime friend of this program, Adam Chernoff, talking NFL playoffs as well. We get a big boy tonight, Pauly. We get the bad SEC, a blue blood here that's been doing it for years in Ole Miss, taking on the laughingstock ACC, represented here by Miami. And but books now moving towards Ole Miss. There are still 3.5s out there. There's going to be juice on this. It's either 3.5 even money at most books in Miami, or -3, -120, which is the situation here at Circa, and the total is at 53. Strong on the game. I have a prop on the game that I like.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to a bunch of people down at the book before the show, and they all said, "Who do you like?" I said, "Ole Miss," and they all said, "I like the other side." That everyone was pro Miami, but this is set up beautifully for Cristobal, and that's where I'm worried that he could blow it. Like, how many phone calls in the last week about, hey, former teammates, whatever, Miami alum, we're going to have a home game in the championship. Oh, we got to beat Ole Miss first, right?
Yeah, and so to your point, by the way, not only here at the book, but I think every single person I've talked to off the air, like on a phone call or specifically like text messages, they made the case for Miami. I don't think I've heard one person, to me anyway, say, give me Ole Miss. I think they're going to win the game outright. I love the points. Hasn't happened. And also,
I want Cristobal as the dog.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
I got there right before you did. Damn it.
Okay, damn.
Yeah.
You're juggling two jobs at the same time. The two biggest stories in college football, the two biggest messes, it's because of Kiffin. Now not letting his assistants coach. What happened with Williams, right? It was set up beautifully. That's why he let him coach. He thought they're going to lose to Georgia.
That's right.
And he would look great, but they beat Georgia. It's like they couldn't beat him with me. They're not going to beat him without me, and they did. But Miami's been so good on defense. They've controlled the line of scrimmage. 17 points allowed or fewer, 6 in a row. 24 points allowed the last 3 games. Dominant up front. Fletcher's great. Bain's great. But then you got this great Ole Miss offense, and Chambliss just playing at a whole nother level. And what they did in the second half against Georgia was incredible. But I do think when you're looking at every possible edge in a game like this, where it's staff is gone, losing coaches to LSU, Miami an extra day to rest and prepare, I think Miami wins a close one.
So this is where it finally catches up to Ole Miss,
I would think so, yes.
The coaching staff. Okay, because with Miami anyway, they did a really good job against Carnell Tate, who declared for the draft. Some mocks already have him projected to go top 5. Who knows? Very early with that. But they did have, obviously, a major problem with Jeremiah Smith. So now you're going to get this dude, Chambliss, who, I don't know, man, if he played the entire year, could have won the Heisman. I mean, he's like Heisman good, right? So I think this is a major upgrade going from a freshman in Julian Sayin to Trinidad Chambliss. Right. Also 500 yards plus rushing on the season. Lacey is 36 yards short of 1,500 on the year, has 23 rushing touchdowns. You have that going for him as well. And as you said, I mean, Miami has been the story so far. Well, one of the stories with that defense, but they were also dogs at A&M, big dogs at a neutral against Ohio State, and now you have to win by more than a field goal if you're betting this game with them.
And expected to win, yeah?
Yeah.
Either way, it's a great story. And I know we talked to Oxford Bob, who's at the game. It's they're tired of the Kiffin stuff. They're tired of being talking about it, being asked about it, chip on their shoulder. Either way, it's a great story. You have the team that the coach deserted them right before the playoff in their biggest game in the history of the program, starting the playoff, or you get Miami. Ole Miss hasn't done anything since the 60s, and Miami hasn't won it in 24 years, but then the U is back, and Miami would have a home game in the championship. Yeah. So either way, it's an incredible story, whoever wins tonight.
So I was making note of, go ahead.
What were you say about Beck? Where you at with Beck?
I'm on one of his props.
All right.
That's where I came to the conclusion last night that it was worth a bet if the number was correct, and I believe it is. So I'll get into that in a second. I wanted to point out, looking at some of these props last night before they're kind of settling in now, a few hours before game time. If you were browsing last night and looking, Mark Fletcher was as low as 88.5 rushing yards. That was here at Circa. And at the same time, he was available at about 96.5, which is where he is, latest check anyway, in the game. Is he going to get 100 yards in this game, you think? Don't they rely heavily on him compared to Beck throwing the ball?
Yes.
That's where I'm at, too.
It's like Henry. He needs 25 carries, touches.
I would agree.
Mm-hmm.
Lacey was as low as 75.5 last night, as high as 83.5. So the Beck yardage prop was between 228.5 and 238.5. So a 10-yard difference there. Now, his completions prop was 20.5, attempts 30.5. Get this. He went over 20.5 completions in 9 out of 14 games this year. However, he only threw the ball 31 plus times in 3 out of those 14 games. That's it. So he was under 30.5 attempts 11 out of 14 games. His completion percentage was 74.4%. If you could actually find a correlated parlay here, I couldn't find it, but completions over and attempts under, he can hit that mark. Like, he could easily go 22 of 30 in this game. But I landed on under 30.5, and you can find 31.5. I just missed. I was actually going to bet that minus 125 on 31.5 below that. I missed that number, and I played under 30.5 at plus 101 earlier today, because I do believe that this is going to be a game where it's not going to be like such a hurry up offense when they have the ball. It's going to be much more Fletcher going against this Ole Miss defense, a guy that you can rely on for, like you said, 20, 25 carries. Maybe he gets 100 yards, and then you don't have to have Beck throw the ball. And they never did that this year anyway, just ran it down for you. Mm-hmm. So I played under 30.5. Hopefully, that's how the game plays out for me.
Receiving's tough. Who's going to lead in receiving and who could have a big game for both games. You can look at Caesars, and Tony's the favorite 6-1, and they have most passing, rushing, and receiving for the semifinal games. I think that's tough to gauge. You're going to read on. It also goes down to game flow and if someone's trailing. But the other thing I can't get away from is Miami has played 3 top 10 teams. They've never trailed.
No. Oh, that's strong.
That is strong. That's astonishing.
Good write-ups on the game as well at vsin.com. Adam Burke with one of the write-ups. Situational football. It leans towards the Hurricanes as well. They're better on third down, both offensively and defensively. They also have the better red zone offense, TD percentage, 69% to 64.5%, and a better red zone defense a little bit. But however, when it comes down to who's going to be in the red zone, and if you can't, and kick field goals, we saw it against Georgia. Ole Miss has a superstar kicker. And now it is actually, right before the show started, media covering the game said, thank goodness it's covered here, because it's raining and hailing outside right now in the Phoenix area. Mm-hmm. So that dude... That has been a slick field, though, in the past, by the way. Check out the Super Bowl from a couple years ago when the Eagles took on the Chiefs. That was a storyline. Isn't that where the Michigan TCU college football playoff game was played as well? I think
you're right, yeah.
And a major issue. But if it's going to be solid with the field tonight, you can trust that guy from way downtown.
Miami 0-4 all-time in the Fiesta Bowl. Then they slow down Chambliss, who's averaging 8.5 yards per dropback, QBR of 91. 644 yards, 3 touchdowns in these last couple of games. He's been nuts. But this Miami defense in the playoffs, highest turnover rate, interception rate, sack rate, pressure rate, tackles for loss per game, and held Ohio State to 14 points.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I would lead under 2 in this game. I don't think we see a lot of points, and I would think the game plan for Miami, like you said, is run, and feed Fletcher, or maybe some short stuff to Tony.
There's also that angle with Beck where he hasn't really had to throw, nor has he thrown for, it's 240 yards in the first 2 games so far. That's it.
Who is he? Like A.J. McCarron? I mean, he wins games, but the stats aren't there. You don't ask a lot out of him?
Yeah, you really don't have
36-5 is his record.
Well, okay. The results don't lie with that. Some other trends, when you go back and look, I get it. It's a brand new landscape. Things have changed big time in college football, but since 2010, when ACC bowl or playoff teams have been favored by 4 points or fewer, they are 34-16 under the total. Neutral site games since 2014, Miami 3-11 ATS. That's 21%. Ole Miss 73% in non-conference games the last 6 years. But again, this, Chambliss wasn't even the starting quarterback before the year started. Playing Division II at Ferris. Never even heard of the school before. And Lane Kiffin was the head coach. So I don't know how much stock you want to put into this.
I think the chip on the shoulder is worth something. I mean, the article,
that I would agree with.
The article front page ESPN.com. What if we are the people who win these games? A new feeling at Ole Miss. It's not Kiffin as much as people want to say.
Mm-hmm.
It had great talent, and they lucked into Chambliss, as you talked about. But certainly, talking to Ole Miss people, they're sick and tired of hearing about it, and sick and tired of the Kiffin stuff too.
I'm looking at the schedule rank SOS for these two teams at Jeff Sagarin. Miami, 15th SOS in the country in the season. Mississippi, 37th. Could that be something? You've mentioned that in the NFL playoffs this week, where it used to be just the team with the better SOS was, if there was a big margin in that, you can bank on that team covering those games in the wild card weekend. Could that be a thing where Miami's schedule overall has been more difficult?
Yeah. I also think it's big that the SEC has embarrassed themselves. That could be another angle, too.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not who they think they are, not even close. Fans, media, Sankey, all of them. I mean, it was just, you got to get Bama in. You got to get Oklahoma in. They didn't deserve to be in.
Wow.
Alabama embarrassed themselves, and they did a horrible job in the other bowl games.
I like what you said earlier, though. It's a great story either way.
Yes.
To me, college football is more interesting when Miami is a big factor. And Ole Miss would be, I've said this since the jump. If they could just give the middle finger to Lane Kiffin the entire time, I think that'd be incredible.
Yes.
I would love that if they could rub it right in his face. And then LSU would be like,
what do we do?
Yikes.
I know.
Are we sure about this? Up next, we're going to spend a lot of the show talking about that game tonight and also Wild Card Weekend. I don't think you can ignore how some dogs, home dogs, have done in the playoffs going back a good decade in the league. Coming up next.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. With VSiN Pro, you get access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Coming up in about 15 minutes, we'll go over the latest coaching news in the National Football League. I got to be honest, tough to keep up. Fast and furious.
It's great.
There are like nuggets and tweets coming out about this like every 10 seconds. This guy's going to go here. Another guy's gone.
I
okay.
Talked to my Giants source.
And? You want to save it for then?
I got good info.
You do?
Yep. Bill Barnwell, his pick is in. Bills-Rams Super Bowl. Rams win 38-24. A 5 seed against a 6 seed. No home games. He has Buffalo beating New England and the Rams beating Seattle in the championship games.
If the Rams, I'll say this right now, if the Rams win the Super Bowl, you, Luke, everybody on the show, wherever you guys want to go to eat.
Right.
Here in Las Vegas. If you want to do berries, because we all come down here, that's fine. Otherwise, we can do something else.
Oreo cheesecake.
I got it. If you guys drink wine back there, whatever, doesn't matter. I got the tab.
All right.
If the Rams win the Super Bowl.
Kramer in?
Kramer!
Yeah, baby. It's a big game. And Kramer's ready to go with first touchdowns tonight.
For tonight.
He's got it tonight. Yes, first touchdown of the game. Carson Beck, 30-1. Oh, Kramer.
Okay.
He's in studio tomorrow. But that is, can he take off and run? He says, yeah, maybe a little sneakage. Sure. Get in there at 30-1. He also has, I don't mind Chambliss.
What's his number?
He's 14-1 here at Circa. That's a good one. And you got the other two, Luke?
Let me point this out.
That's good.
Guess how many, okay, let's go over the rushing attempts and yards by Carson Beck on the year. He rushed 49 times, had 56 yards. Remember, sacks count negatively.
Yep.
He had 1 touchdown this year. And that came September 13th against South Florida.
Beck 30, Chambliss 16, shop it. Baby Jesus, Tony 8-1, Az 35-1.
All right.
I don't mind Tony. I'd like a better number. The chalk is obviously Fletcher and Lacey.
I'm surprised he doesn't have defense here.
No, don't say that.
Well, I mean, we just saw that. That was a beautiful read against Ohio State for the pick six.
Clean football tonight.
Oh, is that you bet it?
No defensive or
okay.
No defensive or special.
What do you got there, Bosco? Sweet tooth.
Give me the code, George. Give me the code. Minus 240 only. You see what they're doing here in the playoff games?
Oh, here at Circa?
$4. They moved them 70 cents, 80 cents.
For what?
No defensive touchdown.
I did not see that. Did they really?
When we started on VSiN, and I put this prop in a headlock for like 2 years, it was like $260, $270. They are $4 now for the playoff games.
Well, you better start getting creative with parlays.
Yeah.
Well, but then here's the deal, though. You're getting better quarterback play in theory with a lot of these games, right? So you're not going to have a lot of turnover guys involved with that. That's always one of your biggest things. And then in theory, you're going to have like pretty solid special teams. Maybe not across the board, but with most teams anyway involved. I'm spitballing here. I don't bet the prop.
Doesn't make any sense. I didn't get the, but been like $3 here every game. Now it's $4 in some of these games. This is the round. This is the round. We've been talking about it all week. Mackinnon delivered. Always go to vsin.com. You'll get lost in all the content. It's incredible what's up there. The outright winner in this round owns a point spread record of 69-10-1 ATS. 87% in the last 80 wild card playoff games. The win, no cover, very rare. Pick the team that's going to win the game, cash the ticket.
Yeah. The problem is that's much easier said than done. Like, who's going to win the Bills-Jaguars game? It's a total coin flip.
You got low spreads, that's right.
Who's going to win the Steelers-Texans game?
Mm-hmm. Do you see the Rams winning and not covering? Another one. Packers. Pick them, essentially.
Right. Do the Eagles win that game and not cover, and now they're getting bumped up to 5.5?
Yeah.
Or do they win by more than 6? Home underdogs in the NFL playoffs are currently on a 9-4 straight up and 11-2 ATS run going into the season. The trend goes back to 2016. 3-0 last year. Panthers, 10.5 point dogs. Bears, small 1.5 point dogs. Jacksonville, small 1.5 point dogs. And you have the Steelers, 3 point dogs on Monday night. 4 examples of that as of right now for the weekend. Home underdogs have been awesome in this round. And as you can tell, you don't have many examples going back. I mean, Mack and his numbers go back to 2016. We've had 13 examples. 4 of them now. So it's going to be at the end of this, it's going to be 17 examples, 7 of those coming in the last 2 years. The parity here is just, and also the seeding is stupid.
Yes.
You can't have Carolina hosting a home playoff game here.
Yep. Double-digit dogs, 1-17 straight up going back as well. And going back to 2013, it went 2-0 last year. You bet the under in the 3-6 matchup. It's 25-1, 80% to the under. That's Bills, Jags, 49ers, Eagles. That is nuts.
Okay. I'm looking at playing an alt-under parlay this weekend. I will run that by everybody on the air coming up before the show is done today, because you can get these numbers all the way up.
All the way up.
Very high with the alternate numbers. And I found a 16 parlay that would still pay 4-1 to come in based on every game being outdoors, historical trends like that. Anyway, we've also had 34 NFL playoff games since 2003 where the road team won more games in the regular season. The visitors are only 14-20 straight up and 22-1 ATS. That's it. Again, 4 games. We had 4 last year, and the host swept ATS and straight up. Wildcard rounds this year, Carolina, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. Host teams that have won fewer regular season games than their opponents. That's pretty wild to me. Home teams that won 1 or 2 games more in the regular season than the visiting team, but are favored by 3 points or fewer, or are dogs. 13-20 straight up, 12-21 ATS last 33 tries. You are looking at the Packers-Bears game and Bills-Jags.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be a bad thing for my Jacksonville outcome. And I heard Jonathan Von Tobel and Stormy Bonatoni talking about this on Money Moves earlier. And I think what they said is exactly how it's gone for me so far this week with the game as well. I don't think I've heard anybody talk about Buffalo. I think it's all been I really like Jacksonville in the game, and I think Jacksonville can come out of the AFC. That scares me to death as someone who likes Jacksonville in the game. And yet it's pick 'em here, but they're still, it's like Buffalo minus 1.5. And JVT's example was, I did not, to him, this is now him talking, I did not hear a single human being make the case for Ole Miss. Yet the number stayed 6 or actually came in their favor 5.5, and they won the game outright against Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia was very popular.
Yeah.
Yep. Kirby also was awful, and they blew a double-digit lead.
Yeah. Home teams scoring fewer than 22.5 points per game have actually done well, going back to 2009. So they step it up, or their defense carries the day. 16-5 straight up, 15-5 with a push ATS since 2009, like I said. Carolina and Philadelphia would be the examples this weekend. And one more from Steve Mackinnon. Road teams scoring fewer than 22.5 points per game. Awful. 8-27 straight up, 11-24 ATS since 2009. That would be the Los Angeles Chargers.
God.
Mm-hmm. We're also going to get into first quarterbacks making their first starts. And,
yeah, there's so much, right?
Oh, God, it's awesome.
But I can, again, that Patriot game, I could give you 10 things on each side, right? 7 seeds are 1-9, losing on average 11 points per game. The 1-14 thing, when they play outside and it's under 40 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
The New England, but it's the 10th easiest schedule in 9th easiest schedule in NFL history. All this stuff here, too. The run defense has been bad, all that. Very good. Did you do anything with MVPs again? We briefly touched on with the college.
We just talked about it on Pot of the Futures as well. Kind of the same thing, like telling people
you can get Fletcher 25-30 to 1 to an MVP. 38 touches, 287 yards and a touchdown. Number 1 in the playoffs in yards per game from scrimmage. You're not going to give it to Beck. I can't see them winning the title, and Beck has a huge game, and he's the reason why. And I think Tony's aggressive, too, just because the shots down the field aren't there. You know how many touches Fletcher's going to get, and Bain's at a big number. 10 tackles, 6.5 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, 16 pressures in 2 games. That's the way to look for Miami.
Well, if they win, the defense has been such a story. Why not him? Also, I did notice that some books, Mendoza was actually a better price than Indiana to win the national title. Right? And so even if he throws for 180 yards in the national title game with a touchdown or 2 and they win in a romp, the voters might give it to him.
I see that, yeah.
Heisman Trophy winner, projected first-round pick in the draft. He's got to be the guy.
Yeah. All about the Lord. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Remember when he had the game-winning touchdown pass to Cooper against Penn State?
I know.
That was all Cooper, and yet his odds to win the Heisman just bye. Like, that's him? Really?
Yeah.
I'd say great catch rather than great pass. I don't know. Also, like, if Ole Miss wins, that's either Chambliss or Lacey, is it not?
I would think so.
Yeah.
It's Chambliss, right. Chambliss, to me, has got to carry them if they win this game. And it's got to be through the air.
We'll get you some of the latest coaching news today in the National Football League. Again, this is coming down fast and furious, and I would actually say their championship window has opened back up again if this happens.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
More big news today in the NFL. Miami Dolphins fired head coach Mike McDaniel. He's gone. Quarter of the league now has a opening at that position. Where are all the candidates going to come from if they, if they're not going to get all recycled? This is from Jeff Darlington, who's covered the team for many, many times, for some context on the situation. So McDaniel met with the owner, Steve Ross, on Tuesday. The outcome of the meeting left Ross very conflicted. He really likes Mike, loves his intelligence and offensive mind, but that meeting resulted in some hard thoughts. Ross didn't feel like the results were there, and despite the end of the year production where they were playing hard, they were winning games, Ross simply wasn't comfortable moving forward with, quote, status quo.
Mm-hmm.
Darlington also added that the Dolphins have not yet been in touch with John Harbaugh or anybody in his camp.
I refuse to believe that. Come on, Jeff. That's your big boy. What changed? Well, Harbaugh was fired. That's what changed.
Well,
and the relationship that Ross has with the Harbaughs.
If that's true, though, for a second, and if the agent to John Harbaugh's not lying when he said yesterday 7 teams have reached out and there were only 7 openings, including Baltimore, who's the team that does not have an opening or did not have an opening at that time? If it's not Miami, that reached out to Baltimore or to John Harbaugh.
And Tampa Bay kept Bowles.
That's right.
Although he had to get rid of his staff.
2 teams then.
Uh-huh.
it's either got to be Buffalo, which has been a fun talking point to kick around, or it's got to be your team, Green Bay.
Uh-huh.
I firmly believe if it's not Miami, if this is true.
Did you see Mike Florio today?
That's right.
People in the know said, watch out. They're keeping an eye on a situation with Harbaugh in Buffalo and Green Bay. The Giants source, they're going to talk to Big Mike McCarthy. I don't think they're going to hire Flores. And they expect Harbaugh to cancel on them and take the Miami job.
What?
He gone.
They expect to cancel the meeting with the Giants?
It's pretty much forget about it. Harbaugh's going to Miami. Forget about it. He doesn't think they'll be lucky to get a meeting, they think.
Oh, I'd like to take a bet on that.
Okay.
In fact,
this guy's in the meeting.
Can you ask your source if he's willing to take a bet? Will he give me plus money? That they will meet with John Harbaugh?
Yeah.
I'll take that action.
That's the quote. That's the quote. We expect him to cancel on us. He's taking a Miami job. And they're talking to Big Mike McCarthy. Come on.
That cannot possibly happen. None of these teams.
You know what's the talk? Antonio Pierce. What are you doing? Come on.
Okay, now stop.
Yes.
I did not hear that.
Yeah.
For the Giants or for other teams?
Giants.
How could that guy ever sniff another job ever in the NFL? Well,
he was on the staff there, but he was horrible with the Raiders. I know, I hear you.
If you want to hire the guy who's going to punt on 4th and inches at the 39-yard line, there you go. He's your guy.
That's your guy.
Yeah, every single time.
1982, here he come, right? Bam. So that's it's juicy, but I would think I don't know about that move. You got to worry about May and Josh Allen. Weather's nice, but I know you have the relationship with the owner. I would go look in a different direction.
You also got to figure out what the hell's going to happen at quarterback there. You have any idea?
I will say this. No, I don't. I will say this. McDaniel did do a pretty good job with Tua. Remember how bad he was under Flores?
Sure.
He did an excellent job with Waller this year. When Waller was healthy, he was great. And certainly he almost won a playoff game with Skylar Thompson.
That's right.
As a 14-point dog, and he went to the playoffs the first 2 years. The comeback is, what happened early on. You closed strong, but you lost so many bad games or games to bad teams the last couple of years. And also you looked like a high school team when Tua was out.
I would also say that they don't have a ton of talent on the team as of right now. It's been pretty poor roster construction. In general, they also lost the guy that they brought in, Tyreek Hill, who was great under this guy. And I firmly believe with people who are now worried about Miami's next move, if it's the wrong guy, because what McDaniel was able to do and open up with Devon Achane has been phenomenal. Achane's an absolute beast, and the next guy could just be, we got to have a different guy in there half the time, split carries, whatever. Not going to be the receptions back that we've used him for as well. So the whole talking point about how he's not a leader of men, and then people locally pointing out, then how the hell did he have his players fighting so hard down the stretch when they were out of it? And that's a good point.
He did a good job with the Niners. Where do you expect them to go?
Well, now I think the open for the Detroit Lions, the championship window would crack open a little bit more again. Because according to sources, the Lions have reached out to him already, and that was my first thought when he was fired today. Not necessarily getting a head coaching job already in this new cycle, but where would he go to become an offensive coordinator? This guy's a really good offensive mind. If he could go and be the guy now to work with all that talent on the team, that would work, and I think it would work beautifully. That's a great hire. I don't know if people were suggesting maybe he goes back to Washington. By the way, Dan Quinn evidently did not want to get rid of Kingsbury from what I was seeing.
It wasn't his call?
That was more of a...
ownership.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Kingsbury maybe wanting out. Maybe the basketball people, their game plan, not exactly...
Word around the league also was Harbaugh lost the locker room. That makes sense.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yep.
So Kingsbury already has a couple of head coaching meetings. I was seeing that earlier today. One of them was Baltimore. Again, I don't know if I want to run to hire him as my coach, but I would love to have the guy as my OC, or really like it anyway.
That'd be a good hire.
Yeah.
He'd be a great OC, I think. And then if you want to go mentor as the head coach, whatever, right?
I don't think Harbaugh has to rush on any of this stuff.
Take your time.
Absolutely.
Green Bay and Baltimore might become available. I mean,
Buffalo.
Buffalo might become available. Absolutely. Yes.
Okay,
This
so
is tough.
what do you have left?
So we got Colorado at home tonight.
Okay.
And we got Vegas at home tonight. But Vegas is playing Columbus. And again, as we've been talking about for years, usually expect fireworks, goal in the first 5 or first 10 minutes when the Knights are playing at home. But Colorado's on a 16-1 run, goal in the first 10 at home. And a lot of them have cashed in the first first couple minutes of the game, if you want a better price. So goal in the first 10 on the road, Nashville 10 in a row, St. Louis 16 of 19, Washington 13 of 15. At home, Colorado 16 of 17, Columbus 7 of 8, Vegas 6 of 7. For the game, Anaheim's on a 29-14-1 overrun and a 14-3 overrun. Montreal 27-15-1. The Jets 24-16-2. San Jose 7 straight overs and 10 of 11. Minnesota 6 in a row and 8 of 10. Vegas 7-0-1. Perfect matchup against Columbus tonight. Unders, Rangers 29-16. New Jersey 25-17. Some hockey numbers courtesy of Jonathan Davis and also our guys who do the goal. Great job, Ian Duncan, goal in the first 10. But it's like Fairbairn now. Fairbairn's like 220 at some spots.
Right.
It's a 27-3 run though. They're aware of it. Buy plus money. How much are you willing to take and pay? And again, if you win, it doesn't matter because it's a 27-3 run, and it's won every game this year but one. Well, you're talking $2 in that range for goal in the first 10 with Colorado.
Yeah,
but it's 16-1.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say I like it.
Okay, so you're going to also detail a lot of the stuff that took place last night. Crazy finishes in basketball. Win-lose coming up in about 5 minutes. Before we get into that, now, you asked me earlier this week the level of concern with Oklahoma City. I'm not panicking. Last night was not pretty yet again. I mean, they should have lost at home to Utah.
Got to panic.
Got to panic.
Something wrong. Yep. It's 2.5 weeks now. You're playing bad teams, laying 17. You lose it as a 15-point favorite. You could have lost as an 18-point favorite. The Spurs have your number. You lost at Minnesota. But something, I forget who had the article. Someone did a great article. You know, remember all the stuff? Free throw merchant, all this stuff?
Yeah, I know.
What if something finally changed in the game at Minnesota when Finch lost his mind and got tossed? Is it now OKC? They're not getting the benefit of the whistle, and it's flipped the other direction. And it's not this parade to the free throw line anymore.
I think I saw last night was the first time SGA went to the free throw line at least 10 times in a month. Can double check that. But that also in their wins, like a lot of times, he doesn't even play the fourth quarter.
Yeah, but many people have been saying this for years. No one gets that kind of whistle other than SGA. You got to go back to like Michael Jordan, the type of whistle that guy gets.
Harden did. Drove me absolutely nuts.
For a year, I would say, 2 years. The acting.
Oh, God.
Some of that's embellishing.
Initiating contact. Yeah. Then the defender gets called for the foul. Drove me nuts, right? I still can't get there panicking.
Yeah, I think you have to.
Jalen Williams said, when we go on a bad stretch of basketball, the world freaks out.
Yeah.
That's because our expectations are so high. He's like, nothing to see here.
Bulls. They were 24-1.
Oh, you were close.
They were killing people. No way.
It's a long season, though.
No way.
If this is still a thing,
no way. They got blown out by Charlotte.
Ask me again. I need another month. I can't do it.
What if it's real with the officiating?
Oh, that would be
what
something
if they're saying,
for sure.
I don't know. Would you put it past the league to say, hey, guys, cut this out? They're 24-1. They're looking to repeat. They're making a mockery of this. They might get 3 lottery picks. We can't have it.
Here's what I will say. In the Western Conference, it is not going to be easy for them. We thought this before the season, and now this is where I'm convinced. It will not be easy for them to beat Denver or San Antonio in 7-game series.
Yep.
Look at the way the Nuggets are playing without Joker. Incredible job yet again last night. Win-lose up next.
No doubt.
Huge prices on teams to come back and win. Pauly's going to detail a lot of it here on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Win Some, Lose Some is sponsored by the Sharp Plays.
Were you a winner last night? Wow, winning. Or was it a rough one? Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser!
Pauly Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
Big upsets last night in hoops. Rice, 7-1 on the money line. 14-point dogs against Wichita. LaSalle, 12-point dogs, plus 575. Missouri, 12-point dogs, plus 625. Beat Kentucky. And Richmond, plus 220. Temple, East Carolina, under 147, down to 142.5. Winner. Charlotte, ice cream, 3 up to 6.5. Kentucky, Missouri, under 156, down to 150.5. All good in college hoops. Denver Nuggets did it again. Long hair, don't care. Calvin Booth looks great. The GM who was fired. These young guys are playing well. The guys you never heard of with all the injuries, plus 325. Beat the Celtics on the road.
Let me run this by you. So we tape Pot of the Futures, JVT and I do, every Tuesday, early in the morning. It's available wherever you listen to your podcast. When we were doing it live, we were talking about this team a couple days ago. And I noticed the Westgate had Denver 60-1 to win their division. At the time, 5.5 games back. 60-1. FanDuel or Boyd out here had 300-1.
Yeah, I just saw 200.
I took 300 on them.
All right.
I needed that OKC loss last night. That would have been nice. Yeah. But they're doing this without... By the way, Joker's not the only guy who's been hurt. A bunch of guys have been hurt.
A lot of guys have been out. Yeah. Rockets, Blazers under. What a move this was. 229 down to 222.5. No problem. 103, 102.
Yeah, and by the way, the bettors thought they cashed a Houston moneyline bet last night at the buzzer with Easton, but they did not count.
Good. Thunder, Jazz over. 237 up to 243.5. 129, 125. Nets 4.5 down to 1.5. 226 down to 220. They're playing defense. 104, 103. Raptors, Hornets under 234.5 to 228.5. 97, 96. And the Sixers from 11 up to 17.5. 131 to 110. Pounded the Wiz. Premier League. Everton, Wolverhampton, draw plus 260. Man City, Brighton, draw plus 360. Villa, Palace, draw plus 240. Man U, Burnley, draw plus 280. Who had it? Someone had to have that out there.
That'd be a nice round robin, huh?
Yeah. Fulham, plus 260. Beat Chelsea. And the 0-0 detector's out. 88-minute. Arsenal and Liverpool, nothing. Subscribe, be part of the team, vsin.com. Our radio and podcast friends, you always want to see these tweets and videos at Pauly Does Vegas on Instagram. Keep them coming. Send them in. You guys are great every single day. Doug greets cows every morning. Coming in. He gets the running start. Look at him. Coming out. There you go. Hey, guys. What's up? Want to say top of the morning to you. Let's have a day. Let's cash some tickets. Look at that. That is unbelievable coming out. Every morning greeting the cows. Runs out. Hey, guys. Hey, getting it on. Oh, hey, how are you? Hey, Fred. What's up? It's a long embrace, too. Going over.
Fred,
look at that.
Very, very common name for cows.
I wasn't expecting that long embrace. That was good. Lose some. Suns, Grizzlies over. 226.5 up to 231.5. No good. Hawks, Pelicans over. 241.5 up to 246.5. Trae Young traded while the game was going on. Bulls from 11 down to 7. No good. Bad beats. Clemson laying 4.5. The kid shot a 3 at the buzzer down 7 and made it.
Oh, yeah.
For SMU. Incredible.
And oh, by the way, that opened 3.5 some spots.
Oh. Thunder, Jazz under. Goes to overtime. Took you out there. Before the line moves, Sharp Place is already there. Jeff and the crew been at it since 2011 with Follow the Money. Since day one, they backed it up with documented results, public logs, and transparent receipts. Trusted by pros, monitored by the book. Stay ahead of the line this postseason. Visit sharpplays.com. January isn't about volume, it's about precision. The NFL playoffs are when limits rise, mistakes shrink, and timing matters more than ever. The AI plays up 50 units. They identify where the sharp money hits before the number disappears. Sharpplays.com, baby.
So last night was really a doozy for live betting opportunities. And because of some of these numbers involved with how big the favorites were, I'll give you an example. You brought up the Kentucky game. Missouri was plus 650 to win the game before it started.
In that range.
I don't even know. So Kentucky was up 8 with, I think, 4 or 5 minutes to go in the game, right? I don't even know what the in-play was at that time. All I know is that I looked and Kentucky was up. They struggled. It's 68-67 with 3+ minutes to go. Missouri's down a point. They were plus 420 to win it outright.
We've talked about this, especially during the Madness and the championship week. I don't get it. There are a huge number. DraftKings has the biggest numbers of all.
That
doesn't make any sense to me. But
No,
they
I
just
mean-
assume at home and then the favorite's going to win.
That's right.
But that's like it's a 1 point game. It's a 1 possession game.
You're exactly right, Paul.
I've seen a 2 or 3 seed or a good team in championship week be up 2 with 2 minutes and the dog's like $6.
Wow.
The DraftKings has the biggest prices.
If anybody was paying attention to the live betting for the UConn game, what was that? Because they were getting torched in the second half. I gave up on the game. I wasn't on my screen, and I didn't even look at the live betting. I thought the game was over with. Providence was going to get out of there with a win, and then UConn comes roaring back, goes overtime, they win. It had to be a huge number on them, although they were a big favorite before the game. And in the NBA last night, Oklahoma City, so they trailed by 2, 3 seconds left, timeout. They're plus almost $3 to win the game. Well, you know what's going to happen. There's plenty of time for Shea to go and find his spot with the basketball. Maybe a decent chance he's going to get fouled.
I would think that should be higher, though.
3-1 down by 2 with 3 seconds?
Yeah.
Oh, it was an autoplay.
Really?
Oh, 100%.
How many teams are going to go for 2 there? If you're the dog, you got to shoot the 3.
I thought with them struggling,
okay,
they might want to just get a win, and they don't want to lose to Utah at all. And plus, Shea is so good at the mid-range that was, you're not, that's where it's actually kind of flipped because there's only 3 seconds left. Huge favorite. And because when they were trailing by a score of like 106 to 101, something like that, the numbers were, we only had a few minutes to go in the game, and yet they were only like plus 150. The Toronto Charlotte game. Charlotte had a kind of a decent lead there very late. And then the Hornets had the basketball down by 2. They came back and cut it 96-94. But what was Toronto in play before the banked in 3 by quickly to win the game outright? And another one was the Brooklyn game against Orlando last night. That was almost a 20-point game, end of the third quarter. And it looked like the Nets were going to punt on the game. They still had all of their backups in to begin the fourth quarter. And then they started to chisel away at the lead, and they brought back Michael Porter, who was awesome last night, some other guys. And then they took the lead, and then there was controversy about like an offensive goaltending, and it goes to overtime eventually. And then Paolo Banchero hits the 3, and people are like, well, his foot was clearly on the line, and it wasn't. And the Magic won it at the buzzer by 1. So all of that stuff last night, the numbers that you could have gotten in that game on both teams within a span of a couple of minutes.
Excellent.
Crazy. And it's just like the NBA, man. Basketball, this stuff goes back and forth so often.
About 10 years ago, I interviewed Marcus Allen, and he had a great line. As long as they're keeping score, people are going to cheat. FanDuel Sportsbook fined over suspicious table tennis betting. David Purdom, ESPN. Gambling regulators in Canada fined FanDuel $350,000 today, accusing the company of failing to identify and report suspicious betting activity on table tennis in 2024. They accepted 140 bets from 3 accounts in Ontario on Czech table tennis star matches that, quote, displayed multiple indicators associated with match fixing. FanDuel failed to notice several red flags, including abrupt movement in the odds on matches involving 2 specific athletes, a concentration of bets on those athletes to lose, and the bettor's implausible and near-perfect win rate. The industry had previously been alerted to integrity concerns surrounding the Czech Table Tennis Star Series, according to the Gaming Commission. It's the largest ever levered fine in Canada since they launched in 2021. FanDuel said we're disappointed, and we were proactive on this, and we were on top of this, and they disagree with it. They have 15 days to appeal. But that goes back to what? Unbelievable. Like, what were the limits? Maybe stuff was correlated, whatever. But then there was something out there yesterday with Darren Ravel tweeted with this girl never played tennis before.
I saw that.
Could you believe that?
I actually saw a tweet from a girl playing tennis that took off yesterday. It looks like actual tennis, not table tennis.
To actual tennis.
It looked like
she couldn't even serve.
No, she couldn't. She couldn't hit the ball on the serve.
I mean, how's that allowed? There's no way. People in the audience, you go right now and try to play tennis. You're better than whoever that was.
Yeah, right. She could not hit the ball on the racket, which is you have to be almost blindfolded to not be able to do that.
Yes.
By the way, remember we got those monthly reports from the state of Colorado every year after it became a thing in the pandemic because that's all we had to bet on?
Yeah, COVID.
And because people clamored to it, it was a thing for years. It still might be, actually, in certain states.
Come on.
Yeah.
I know. The volume, you're right. It's out there. But again, it's just like, what how easy it's to get to these guys. Table tennis?
Yeah. By the way, thank you to Dr. Charles on X. Missouri as high as 15-1 last night to win the game. UConn plus 480 just under 5 minutes to go.
Thank you.
Yep.
Great.
College football next. Adam Rittenberg, great job covering the sport for ESPN.com. We'll get his thoughts on both the games starting tonight with Miami and Ole Miss.